I want to buy you a new car.
Why would I want a new car? Datsun runs great. I don't want anything.
Everything has to be difficult.
There are people in this world who go looking for adventure. Christopher McCandless was searching for himself.
So you're a leather now.
I'm a leather?
Yeah, leather tramp. That's what they call the ones that hoof it.
Don't you think you ought to be getting a job and making something of this life?
I only got one plan. I'm going to Alaska.
Alaska? Or City, Alaska?
I'm gonna be all the way out there.
Yes.
In the wild.
What are you doing when we're there? Now you're in the wild. What are you doing?
You're just living, man. I read somewhere how important it is in life not necessarily to be strong, but to feel strong. To measure yourself at least once.
Where are your mom and dad?
Living their lives somewhere.
Did your folks know where you are? I wasn't dreaming, Walt. I didn't imagine it. I heard him. I heard Chris.
Son, how long you been out here?
A couple of weeks.
And before that?
I went to South Dakota. I worked for this guy named Wayne.
What do you think about all this?
I like all this. I took the Colorado River all the way down to the Grand Canyon and did rapids.
What's the N stand for?
North.
Your great Alaskan adventure.
If you want something in life, reach out and grab it.
Movie Talk. Okay, and welcome again to Movie Talk, our second episode, and today we are going to talk about the movie Into the Wild. Joining me are Greta and Kirill. Would you be so kind to introduce yourself? Greta, can you tell us what brought you to Bayreuth? What is your quick opinion about the movie and how you know the Bayreuth Mountain Club?
Hi. So what brought me here was the studying. So I just finished my master's in environmental chemistry, and during it was the second semester when one day on my Facebook wall there was the one of the events of the mountain club, and it sounded fascinating, and I had time, so I grabbed a few friends and then joined for the first hike, first of many, I guess. About the movie, it's a pretty fascinating journey, I would say, and a pretty long one that all like kind of culminates with this ultimate sadness, I would say.
Okay, thank you. And you, Kirill?
I came to Bayreuth to do my PhD in experimental geosciences. And I've been a long lurker on Bayreuth Mountain Club page, like thinking to join or not to join. But eventually I joined, and it worked well. I am really happy to know all of you and do fun stuff. And the movie is, oh my God, there's a lot I want to say about the movie because I worked as extreme travel guide and exactly like in places like this. And oh yeah, there are lots of emotions and lots of thoughts.
Nice. We'll get right to that. I'll quickly start off with a spoiler warning because we're going to talk about the movie. We're going to talk about the ending. So if you haven't seen the movie, we are going to tell a lot of things that you don't know yet. Might be okay for you, but if it's not, just close your ears. And I'm going to start with the movie summary. to recap the movie for you. So, a young man leaves his middle-class existence in pursuit of freedom from relationships and obligation, giving up his home, his family, and all his possessions, but the few things he carried on his back, and donating all of his savings to charity. Christopher McCandless, played by Emil Hirsch, embarks on a journey through America. His eventual aim is to travel into Alaska, into the wild, to spend time with nature, with real existence, away from the trappings of the modern world. In the 20 months leading up to his great Alaskan adventure, his travels lead him on a path of self-discovery, to examine and appreciate the world around him, and to reflect and heal from his troubled childhood and parents' abusive relationship. When he reaches Alaska, he finds he is insufficient prepared, and despite making it through the winter, he prepares to return home for spring, only to find the frozen stream he crossed in the snow has become impassable now, a raging torrent, and that he is trapped. With no means of sustaining himself adequately, he eventually starves to death in his so sought-after isolation. Throughout his epic journey, the people he meets both influence and are influenced by the person he is, and bring him to the final and tragic realization that happiness is only real when shared. Okay, so that's a recap on the movie. I think I've seen it a few times myself. The first time many years ago, and back then I wasn't even hiking or being outdoors. I lived in the Netherlands where everything is flat. So for me, this was like a very cool movie, was something I wouldn't probably very likely experience. But it was an inspiration, and also one that a few years later led me on a journey of myself to go through Europe to explore the Scandinavian sites just on my own, not as adventurous as the character in the movie does, but nonetheless still an adventure. Getting back to the movie is based on a true story and is based on a book. But there are some discrepancies, and we'll get to that point a little bit later. First up, I want to do a little quiz with you guys, because I want to know who has seen the movie and who hasn't. You can join our interactive quiz through the website slido.com and type in the number 85383, or scan the QR code you see on the screen with your phone. I see there's one person missing in the visual overview. I'll fix that later. So if you join the code, I just want to know from you, very basic, have you seen the movie or haven't you seen the movie? Let me know. All right. In the meanwhile, we'll continue. Let me check. So the movie starts off with Chris basically graduating. You see him in this middle-class life. He has his diploma. He has a good job offering, or he can go to a high college, a university, I think it is even. So he basically has everything he would want. And then we see him in the situation with his parents at dinner, and his parents try to give him a car. But that's where he says, like, no, I don't want a car. Like, what should I do with a car? And that's basically the first time we notice, okay, Chris is a little bit different. In the sense, like, he doesn't want the things he has in life. And quite soon we start to see that because he gives it all away. He tears up his, I think, driver's license and ID and everything. And that's where his journey starts a little bit. Greta or Kirill, do you want to join in on this part? What do you think that the scene, like in the restaurant, shows about Chris and the relationship to his parents?
Oh, can I please start? Because I've been waiting for this moment. So, first of all, this scene in the restaurant is really like iconic for American cinema. Like parents sitting in the restaurant and talking about their kid going to a law school and then giving him a car. Well, first of all, I've seen exactly like exactly the same scene in a movie I really love called Interstate 60 that begins with exactly the same thing, like parents who don't understand that what their kid actually wants, and like giving him a car afterwards. So like it is a really common, as far as I know from like this and some other pieces of the Hollywood productions. This is a very like real and cliche situation that actually happened to the person, and generally like who Chris himself, he also behaves as this typical like California. No, he was not. He was originally from Virginia, I believe. Like this kid who wants to go and find himself. It's also like a very very typical message of this pilgrimage, of this spiritual pilgrimage that he wants to undertake, and the story itself that is going to happen is his. It is made according to the laws of like spiritual pilgrimage.
But I mean, it's something that a lot of people, I think, have in their life at some point, sooner or later, that they want to discover themselves or go find themselves. So in that sense, I guess it's something a lot of people can relate to as well.
Well, theoretically, yes, but it's also like a very like first world country new age thing about people doing stuff like that.
Yeah, sure, but I mean, you can also see where it's coming from. He likes being all A's in the school, studying everything, having good grades, having this all perfect future in front of him, having this old car. So he actually already owns a car, but the parents are like, this thing, no, we're gonna get you a new one, the one that is proper for going to Harvard. So yeah, I would say that you can really see that he's kind of idealistic, probably really influenced by all the books that he's reading. Mm-hmm. So everything kind of builds up in the direction of breaking out of this like social bubble and going to discover who he actually is.
I guess his parents are trying to push him into a box that he doesn't feel comfortable being in at all. And then he kind of rebels, I guess. And I mean, then the next part is that he basically just leaves and tells nobody about it. I think not even his girlfriend. Like, he just gets up and leaves, quits his apartment, his rent lease, and just is gone.
Yeah, I guess he is a bit in the contact with the sister, and then as in the movie also you can see those yellow writings. Those are actually also like some notes to the friends. So I think in the beginning at least he kind of tries to keep in the contact, but as the movie goes on, then you can see that he rather gives the quote of a guy next to him having those more serious conversations, so he doesn't really have the need to report to anybody and prefers to be undercover, so to say.
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't notice that because I saw that part yesterday. But I thought it was, of course, like out of the old guy sitting at the phone, and then I think he has a fight with his wife or something, but he's out of quarters, so he tells his wife like, "Oh, I'm out of quarters. Please give me an answer." And then Chris is sitting next to him, and then like, "Here, have my quarter." I saw that as something good he's doing, but I never thought about basically he wanting or having this urge to get in contact with somebody, but then not doing it.
There was just a narrative of the sister before that she was already getting also worried because even she wasn't getting any like notes from him anymore. It's not only the parents anymore. Yeah.
No, actually, if we go to the real story of Chris McCandless and we talk about like his actual behavior, there were a lot of peculiar details here. he actually was sending materials to people he met on the road, and he was keeping in contact with them, basically sending them letters. Like, for example, the guy he worked for the construction guy he worked for got actually a huge archive of materials from Chris McCandless that was later handed to his parents after his demise. Chris's demise, not the guy. And like the whole movie itself, I think, first of all, the book Into the Wild is a part of American school reading curriculum, and there is even a very popular, I don't know at what stage of education, there is a very popular essay topic, Into the Wild and the Philosophy of Transcendentalism. And the core belief of transcendentalism is seeing like some general goodness of a person itself, while perceiving the social structures as corrupt and cruel, and generally a lot of Chris's actions in the movie are motivated by this belief and this wish to see people around him as actually good. And yeah.
But I mean, you said he does keep in touch with people, but that are only the people he met after doing this journey. So I looked up the movie, and the movie is divided into chapters, and then you have chapter 1, My Own Birth. So basically there's the separation of everything and everyone in his previous life, which he wants to get rid of, just cut it all off. And then there's his new life, and the people he meets there, he's very fond of. And you see that with all the characters. So you have the guy he works for that you just mentioned. You have the hippie couple in the camper. There's the girl played by what's her name again? From
Kristen Stewart.
Stewart, exactly,
the Twilight girl.
The Twilight girl, yeah. And those in the movie are all scenes that play out very large. So they have big meaning to Chris, to his character in the movie. So, but then there's this clear separation of like his previous life and his new life, and his new life being basically people he has chosen to be around with and to get close with. That was my take on that. So we have these different characters, which all help him a little bit on his journey. So here's one of the hippies, and I think like he learns something with everyone, and that just builds him up, which I find quite interesting.
Also, but it was the way that how he is actually influencing all the people around him. So it's kind of like a mutual relationship between both of him and the people that he meets.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, like a lot of those persons perceive him as an inspiration. But like I can't be a little bit skeptical here, because there is this very strong concept of it's a very strong message of personal freedom, of this way, of this pilgrimage. It's a very California, San Francisco hippie thing that he's doing, and all the like most of the people that he's meeting, they are also very much into the same system of beliefs that he is. And generally, he's creating his own microcosm of those people who accept his values. And it's not like everyone around is inspired. Those are the highlights.
That's a fair point. And I mean, in the end, aren't we all doing that? Creating our own microcosm with people we like and share our own values?
Exactly.
Except for the internet, of course. There, everybody just
Bayreuth
does something.
Mountain Club.
Exactly. So, this mentality. So, what is your opinion? Because some people think like, Chris is an asshole. Like, in the movie, but also like the real world character, for basically doing this to his parents, and his family, just leaving, getting up, and then basically dying and disappearing from the world. Others say like, oh, this is his own spiritual adventure, he needs to do it. Well, what is your opinion on that, Greta?
Well, as it's also like kind of brought out in the movie that he escapes from this kind of traumatizing family life that is kind of understandable. I guess everybody understands why he leaves and all the trauma that he has from the childhood and so on. And during that, he doesn't really see how the parents develop this those feelings. That so in the end, they come to the fact that they're also pretty much broken from not knowing where their son is. But this is something that Chris doesn't know about. It's something that's a long time of self-reflection, like actually resulted in. So in a way, yeah, I guess you could kind of, I don't know, or like you would maybe suppose that Chris would also understand that maybe after, I don't know, let's say a year or something, it would be nice to say that, hey, I'm still alive or something. But yeah, it's kind of like a conflict of things, I would say.
I wonder. I mean, so his plan was to go back, but then he died eventually, at least in the movie, of like eating some poisonous berries or a plant. But his plan was to go back, and I wonder, would he have returned to his previous life or just like his new life?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to imagine him returning in like if he returns like if he, like, let's imagine a parallel universe where Chris McCandless doesn't die, where he returns to his like parents, maybe a new girlfriend. In this universe, Chris is no hero. Chris is yet another another guy who went on such a journey. Like, I know, like a very nice friend of mine, a German guy who is a tour guide, went on a crazy trip like this through the north coast of Africa, going on a most deadly train through Mauritania, crossing the borders half illegally, living in the desert with nomads. If he died and left a diary behind him, and with all the love and respect, if this happened not in 2020 but slightly earlier, that could have been exactly the same story. But there is what I want to say is that if Chris McCandless returns home, he is not an interesting character, and he's not worth talking about.
So basically, with painters, like, they don't start making money with their paintings until they're dead, because when they're dead, they're interesting for some reason.
Or like with rock stars, the ones who die at 27 are going to earn billions after their death a lot.
Interesting indeed. I mean, there's so many people who in their 20s do these extreme journeys or go, I don't know, hike or hitchhike through South America or East Asia or whatnot. And yeah, I know a few people, and they return, and it's like, oh yeah, cool journey, whatever. But then there's these people who die, and they leave a different impact. So I guess him dying adds to the story.
Oh, can I just say a few words about the creation of the story itself? Like, sure. The initial investigation of his death that occurred in 1992, if I'm correct, was published as an article, "Death of an Innocent Man," in 1993 issue of the Outside magazine, which is basically a hiker's journal, and it was by John Krakauer, who later turned it into novel in 1996, and the story of Chris being in Alaska. It is this book, and initially this article that's based on very sketchy notes he made in his diary. And this diary is basically 25% of this diary are the names of the dead animals, and 30% of this diary is him describing how he cuts a moose in piece. So I just want to note on the quality of the initial material. So what I here want to stress is that the whole part of the movie that is like his journey prior to Alaska is a different source than the original book. And the book itself is more a work of fiction. And the behavior of the author in the following years shows that the author is very much interested in creating this image of Chris as he shows him in the book.
Which I think he did a great job. I mean, he
excellent
really
job.
Built this character, yeah. And it's, I guess,
it's
something...
a superly good character, like amazing character, really charismatic, really charming. And like you feel a lot of like compassion and general love towards the character when you go through the book.
So I haven't read the book. I've only seen the movie, and I've read the consequent book Chris McCandless' sister wrote, which is totally not about the whole trip thing, but more on how they grew up. And as a defense to all the people saying, how could Chris done this to his parents? So it's called The Wild Truth, which is also quite interesting story. But that's just completely on the first part of Chris's life, so how they grew up, the abuse and whatnot. But it gives like a whole different side of the story. But of course, it's not the romantic story of this adventurer who goes to the unknown and has like a great time, and then in the end he dies. But I guess that romantic image is nothing maybe to the truth.
Sorry, the parents actually said that this book is full of lies. That the book, like the parents of Chris McCandless, who are the chairs of Chris McCandless Foundation, Memorial Foundation right now, and who own, for example, the rights for the movie that they got, that they gave to Sean Penn, they said that this book has nothing to do with actual Chris.
What does the foundation do?
Oh, it's actually a foundation that gets the money from the use of Chris McCandless' name. They issue like additional materials. There was a release of his photo album. They host all the events in the name of McCandless, and basically it's a family business.
So they just make money out of it, huh?
20% goes to charity.
Is it this one? The Chris McCandless Memorial Foundation?
Exactly this one. I'm a bad guy. I'm going to spoil any nice image of like any lore hero.
Yeah. It's fine. Let's see what's on the side. Okay, cool. So there's pictures of actual Chris. Interesting.
The notes, okay.
Oh, and the bus itself. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Also, quick note that the bus they used in the movie was a prop. They didn't film on the actual bus, and this prop is now in the city that it's like in a restaurant.
What, the bus itself is a restaurant, or
no. I don't remember completely the details, but you can actually see this bus they used in filming outside of the restaurant. I believe it's not a restaurant itself.
Okay.
But I mean, they transported the actual bus also out of
to the undisclosed location. Yes, undisclosed safe location.
Yeah, but I guess that was because so many people went there.
Museum.
Because of the hikers that wanted to die glorious deaths.
Well, yeah, and a few apparently died because going to the bus wasn't that safe in some seasons either.
It was not for the inexperienced and overly romantic persons, for sure. The terrain is harsh, and the encounters with the wildlife are quite dangerous there.
Adventures. I guess a lot of people want to be their own Chris McCandless and have this
Sure.
romantic vision of being out there, being in nature. But probably most of them want to make it back alive.
All of them, I believe. Unless they're suicidal.
Yeah, no, I wonder if there's like... I've never... I don't know suicidal people who say, I'm gonna go on an adventure in the wilderness to die. For most of them, it's just like, I want to die right now.
We are going to get our stream shut down for talks like this.
Nobody's listening.
Excellent.
On that note, if you do want to interact with us and you're watching this on YouTube, you can just chat with us, write in the chat, and we can just put it straight into the video. So if you have any questions, any remarks, let us know. And if you're on Facebook live stream, then you gotta hop over to the YouTube stream, and you can do that with the address that's under here right now. Okay, back to you guys.
Oh, at this amazing moment, I guess it's time to say a few words about the actual death of Chris. Like, I'm interested, you guys, what theories have you heard about him dying?
Also, let's talk about how he dies in the movie first, which is he eats a bad plant, or a plant that looks like something in his plant book that he could eat, but it was slightly different. And I think it was something where he couldn't keep any food in, so anything he would eat, he would puke it out again, which basically in the end led to starvation because he couldn't eat anything. I haven't looked into any other theories though how the real Christopher McCandless would have died. Can you tell me one or two or a few?
All of them.
Oh,
All of them.
I've just had this discussion for over and over with my friends who also work as extreme travel guides, because Chris McCandless is sort of a very controversial figure in our circles. Just discussing his survival mistakes is a completely different topic, unrelated to the stream itself. But if you go to the Wikipedia page of, Chris McCandless, how many times am I going to say this word? You are going to find like three major theories. Two of them are linked to him consuming a plant called alpine sweet wedge, which basically has those roots that taste like carrots, and that used to be traditional food of some indigenous tribes, indigenous people in the area for quite a while. And basically the genus, the plant that has a Latin name, Hedysarum alpinum. So there were like two different ways that, basically this toxic alkaloid in the seeds of this plant, or this amazing ODAP in the seeds. That actually is oxalidiaminopropionic acid, an amino acid that you, as we all may guess, should not eat. But all those theories, including the rabbit malnutrition, which is a classic case, are highly debated, and there is very little proof, not like little proof, but not enough proof for them to be accepted as the certain cause of the death. Also, because there was no post-mortem on his body, as it was found 2 weeks after his death approximately, and it was on quite late stages of decomposition. Like, there was no post-mortem that can identify toxins. There were a lot of other compounds present. There is one story that Wikipedia article misses. It is story based on on photos of his mushroom pics, because on his he has some film rolls with with like lots and lots of mushrooms he picked to be for consumption. Like 5 entries before his death, there is a very nice entrance, very nice entry that reads like many mushrooms dot dreams in caps, and on photos of his shroom catch, there were Amanita mushroom, Amanita musicaria, commonly known as fly amanita, that is known to cause intoxication and hallucination. So there is quite a strong evidence that, like, it's also not completely a proven theory, but it's the one that people who talk about his death prefer not to mention, that he was eating hallucinogenic mushrooms.
But you think he died from that? Or like...
Yep. There is a chance that he got too much of fly amanita in his system.
But I mean, it's a miracle anyways that he survived for so long, I guess, if it's so dangerous out there with all the animals as well.
He had a supply of food, and there were not too many animals. Like the movie, like you see that amount of animals, not too like. Well, I wouldn't say about it because I didn't hike there. I wouldn't say that, but he was not in complete wilderness. There were, for example, some huts with supplies, and during this summer when he lived there, 3 huts around the bus were broken in, something that never happened before and didn't happen since Alex lived there. Like, there is no proof that he did it, but the coincidence is quite interesting.
Fair point. But I guess
also that I guess his body was like found, I guess, around 2 weeks afterwards by some huntmen who were also using the bus as a shelter. So yeah,
there were trails. There were multiple trails.
Do we know how long he was at the bus from the diary?
Something it's hard because we don't know what the entries to the diary mean. Like, are those days? Are those just moments when he wanted to entry? Was he missing any days? But people count to something like 90 days, 94, 95, I think.
I think it started from like 30, and then at the end it was 100 or something like this. So if it would be days, then something along the lines, yeah.
Okay. That's quite a long time for maybe no one to show up, because I don't think we've heard from any people who saw him at the bus. I mean, so we heard from the guy he worked for. So he also had like this stack of cards we also see quoted in the movie. But then there was nobody who saw him at the bus or met him at the bus.
Because it was not the season. There was no reason for people to go there. It was not a hunting season. It was like autumn. It was late summer, as far as I remember. Early autumn.
It starts with the winter and then it goes into spring, or?
Oh no! Sorry. Yes, I'm confusing things. Yes, it was like it starts in the winter when he crosses the river. Whew. It's all inverted.
Yeah, because then it's frozen and then he can go over.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I got a picture here of his diary. I'll just quickly pull that up. So we have things like 5 squirrels,
oh yeah,
small
mushrooms,
duck.
dream.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's not much of an artist, is he? Like he has arrows at the most. But he is writing quite neat, even without the lines.
It looks cool.
Okay, so I mean, here on point 14, we already have misery. So it starts off bad.
That is where they speculate he got a streak of bad weather. Also, there were some discrepancies and some missing pieces. If you talk about what happened with him, what's written in the book and about the weather records at the nearby weather station, they don't completely match.
But it looks like the numbers are days, because here on the right side you say like day 100 made it.
Probably those are most certainly days.
Oh.
But
family
like
happiness.
How accurate are they?
Yeah.
Like it's a personal record. How good he was in making those entries. Maybe he occasionally skipped some. Hopefully not. Probably he was okay.
I mean, yeah, I mean, he left them empty. So in that sense, he did note them down, but he just had nothing to write about because he probably didn't catch anything. Because it does look like a hunting diary to see what he got. And I like, really, really funny. Like at day 39, he writes goose a little bit bigger than all the other stuff. And then there's like the moose with the double line under. It's like, and he's apparently very excited to get a moose.
Yeah, that's exactly what I've been talking. Like all the other pieces, all the other entries, like below moose, which is a huge part of the diary, is a story how he cuts it in parts.
Yeah,
I've read it.
Yeah, I guess that was also quite of a tragedy for him. But first of all, killing the moose and then having all this trouble without an actual outcome, or the outcome was just misery and feeling that he has just killed a life without actually gaining anything from it. And then the wolves and stuff, that was pretty cool scene.
Which one? The wolves?
Yeah, when he realized that the meat was infested with all the maggots and was not edible anymore, then he basically just left it on the banks of the river, was sitting by a boulder, looking how the wolves and all the other animals were like just tearing the meat apart.
Amazing move from the standpoint of a survivalist and a guide. Like, incredible.
Yep.
In
what sense? To just feed the others, or
to leave meat next to your shelter, next to the places where you are present to attract predators.
Ah, okay. Was ironically.
Very much so.
I'm just looking for the scene, looking if I can find it. Show you guys. I only got one with a bear here, but so we can have a quick look at this because. So I guess
that was in the end already. Yeah, when he was, I guess the bear didn't care about him because he was so close to death already.
Yeah, but I guess this is something that never happened. So here he's already at the bus. And then the bear just leaves. He's not interested.
Well, first of all, I believe that not a single bear will ever come close to a place where human scent is really well present. But I won't go into bears. I love this topic.
Well, we can do the Revenant next time.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, but I mean, so. Watching this scene and going back to the fictional movie, I wonder if Emil Hirsch lost a lot of weight for this, because he really looks skinny, but not so much as maybe some other actors. oh god, there's like the machinist with what's the actor's name? It's so bad with names today. So he's also the Batman. Christian Bale. So Christian Bale is like has done the most fascinating body transformations, from basically being like super buff for the Batman roles, to being this like super fat dude for, oh god, can't remember the title, and then going to like super skinny. He only weighed like 55 kilos for the machinist, but to the point where basically the director also said like that this is not healthy, man, you have to eat something. And I wondered if Emil Hirsch did the same here. So I mean, in this shot you see the cheeks aren't that much like caved in as you would see on a skinny person, but it's more the way they trimmed his beard, and there's like makeup on the cheeks, so that's not real. But let me see.
Yeah, also I think in some scenes the face is like super white in comparison to all the other body parts. Yeah. This here.
Put some white makeup on there.
Also, he's scarily clean.
Well, he has a river.
I never noticed that.
Shower.
Yeah, but this is where he's already weak, so I guess you wouldn't go shower then or swim.
Yeah, at some point he was using this sponge to kind of rinse really brown water off him.
No, so returning to the mushrooms, like in the diary, you can actually see what I'm talking about. It's like almost less than a week before stuff starts happening. Like there is this mushroom and some weird stuff happening.
So
blueberry dream.
Woodpecker. So here he still catches some stuff, just some small stuff. Mm-hmm. Here we have... Okay, so it's basically 10 days from his mushroom trip. I don't see mushroom anywhere, just dream.
No, right above many mushrooms, right above dream. There is many mushroom, and
okay.
There's this dream is written clearly in... I would say that the way he writes this is distinctly different from all the diary.
Yeah, definitely.
And there is another dream at day 91, which I believe can note that he proceeded with consumption of those amazing, amanitas.
Magic mushrooms. Was it maybe that's because in the movie they also called it the magic bus, or there's like diary entries with magic bus in the movie? I don't know if they're here. I don't think so.
I don't think that there was a magic bus mentioned in his book, but let's all agree that a death on occasional eating bad seeds is much like the death of him from bad seeds he had no idea about is much better for the narrative than him eating amanitas having a guide.
And I mean, it's close enough that you can still sell it. That he got something from the nature that wasn't actually supposed to be eaten.
Yeah.
But it's not illegal, and they can sell it for a movie.
I think it would have broken his romantic character for a lot of people if he would have died of magic mushrooms. They couldn't have sold that. It's like the target audience would have been way smaller, or maybe a little bit different. But probably the movie would have done very well in the Netherlands.
As an advertisement, like infomercial.
It's just my guess. Okay, so what other things can we talk about?
Well, there are plenty of notable things that can be mentioned. Basically, starting from the amazing soundtrack from Eddie Vedder, and continuing like the actual the actual like movie. I mean, like the filmmaking quality, which is insanely good, and like if you analyze the like white balance in each picture, how warm they are, how even the color of the picture contributes to narrative.
But that's a good point, because basically everything we see, so it's a bit divided into summer and winter, and that also gives us the very warm and cold color palette contrast. So here's one in the bus, which is very cold. We have blues everywhere. The skin color is quite pale.
That's like Snowpiercer palette.
Yeah, that's Snowpiercer, definitely. And then if we just go back a little bit, this is like extremely sunny and warm. Like if you look at this, or if I look at this, I get this feeling of the romantic story that's behind there. It's like, oh, this is great, you know, being out there, meeting people. But then going to the bus, it's not as nice anymore, and everything is cold. And I guess it changes slightly. So here's the bus at the beginning, but it's still quite warm, quite nice. It's still cool.
Yeah, that's the moment when he discovers the magic bus, the amazing thing, nature.
Oh, and this is
the Instagram filters change while his situation gets worse.
I mean, of course, they're like playing with the emotions of the viewers, because overall, throughout the whole long movie, I would say that you still get those like positive vibes, even though it ends up really sad, and it kind of builds up more and more to this that you would feel with the character. But I think overall, still, you get rather a positive feeling, although the tragic end is coming.
That's maybe one of the reasons why they cut it the way they did. So it's all intercut. It's not chronologically, because if it would have been chronologically, it would have been very depressing at the end. It's basically like, okay, he had fun, but now there's like this long struggle and he just dies. And the way they cut it now is like, okay, he's struggling, but he also had these great moments, and then in the end, he has this, I wouldn't say majestic, but this kind of romantic death, that he achieved so much, or that he achieved his goal of being free and with nature, and then like his death is basically a little bit the cherry on top.
Yeah, I mean, it's also the like light of hope that they put in just before the dying. That's okay. He's ready to return to go on to the next adventure, and then fuck, the river is flooding, and now he can't. So then that's the moment where the colors, I guess, are getting more blue and black and white and sad, and then it's like all the hope has been drained out of his life, and all the tragedy is starting.
Definitely. And I mean, you see that quite a lot in movies, that they have this very extreme color palettes between good and bad, or for example in the Matrix, it's also very visible. So the Matrix is very green, like basically the whole Matrix is green. So if he's in like the non-real world, so if he's in the Matrix, yeah, it's green. And if he's out of the Matrix, so if he's in basically the real world, Neo, then everything is like super blue, and you have this great contrast where you can always see, okay, now he's in the Matrix, now he's out of the Matrix. And I guess it's similar with Chris here in Into the Wild. You see just by looking at the colors if it's a good phase in his life or a bad phase during the journey.
No, and it's an excellent story overall. Like, and each excellent story, there is a bit of emotional manipulation, and a bit of manipulation itself, and like this manipulation is what makes you feel. It's what makes you feel emotions, and what makes you to be invested in this character. But I feel like that I really like Chris McCandless as a fictional character, but the real Chris McCandless, for me personally, is a completely different figure that I have a much different attitude towards.
Hmm. Well, I think even from the movie, I had the idea, like, he's not the nicest person per se. Especially, like, from not having any contact with his sister, and I think even his girlfriend. He just left her. What do you call it? Ghosting. He just ghosted her, basically, and then died.
Yeah.
Oh. But yeah, two different kind of people. The movie Chris McCandless and the real life Chris McCandless. That's for sure.
And it's a movie Chris McCandless that inspires, and the book Chris McCandless that inspires all those teenagers to go to the bath without any experience and, well, die. Also inspires thousands more that just do their little hiking trip, return home happily, and tell stories near the campfire. And we learn only about the gruesome death. But still.
Yeah, but I mean, you have that with a lot of things. There's always some people who are just too stupid to do something safe or to think for themselves. But I guess, at least for me, this was also an inspiration to go hiking, to go into nature, and to learn about that stuff. So I find it quite cool as well.
Agreed.
So we have a few more minutes.
I mean, this is a nice story coming from the nature. Yeah, sorry.
No, go ahead, please.
No.
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay, so what I want to say is, like, we have a few more minutes, and I just wanted to know, like, what's your favorite part from the movie? So leaving behind the real world Chris McCandless and just getting back to the fictional romanticized version of him. Greta, what was your favorite part from the movie?
It's hard to like pick the one out. I think one of the really motivating part was when he was with the old guy. It was in hell or something. One of the last meeting. Yeah, that guy. When he pushes him to come up to the mountain and overall to live his life and get a little bit out of this routine of being sad and not having anybody else around him anymore, or like overall the way how he motivated people maybe. But but to bring out about the coasting, that he was really good at coasting, taking off from all those interactions with people basically without saying goodbye, but it was always like, bye, I'm off now.
Yeah, well,
so not really going into emotions.
No, he's putting himself at first place, which of course also is important to do. But
super tramp.
Yeah, super tramp. But I guess over the period of like 2.5 hours, how many people has he just met, had like this real emotional bond with, and then just left them again? Which of course in real life was 2 years, but or in movie time was 2 years.
Yeah, I think he had this really thing in his mind, the Alaska, the point where he wants to go. He was like really sucked into the idea. He was kind of like addicted to it. So everything else was secondary in his life.
Yeah. On that note, I quickly want to know from the people who are watching, if you've seen the movie, what do you think? Let me know or let us know in the chat below. Kirill, so what about you? What was your favorite part?
So my Viewer's Choice Award goes to the Alaskan nature and the amazing work of a cameraman in this part. I believe that this is something I enjoyed the most, maybe because I missed all the big hiking this year, and generally because the part of this, the first part of this story, where he basically travels in this world, for me, being aware of multiple works of fiction, it feels like a very cliched story of a spiritual pilgrimage of the main hero, while the way they show the wilderness and the way they depict it is sometimes even better than in the documentaries you see. It's like it has this gonzo journalism feeling of the raw nature. It has this feeling of like a man and the wilderness, not you being a spectator, but you being a part of that.
Nice. Well, that's a very good point. I agree with that. One of my favorite parts was when he goes kayaking. And then especially with like this guy, so he's in the office and he wants to go on the river, so he asks...
Don't show this part. Don't
why
show
not?
this part.
Why? What happens? Is it not PG rated?
A girl flashes him.
Oh no, that's like the later part.
Later.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it's this conversation with basically the guy from the States and him asking, can I go on the river, or what's the best place? And then the guy says like, oh, you need to sign up. Let me see if I can play it for you.
If you want, you can apply for one here, get some experience, and put you on the wait list. I got this guy in here. No, we'll figure it out.
There's a wait list to paddle down a river?
That's right. Yeah, it's
well,
gonna
how long do I have to wait?
Yeah, hang on a second. No, the deal is, it's gonna be me and you, or it's gonna be me, you, and her. Next available is May 17th, 2003. Great. Done. The three of us then.
12 years?
What's that?
12 years? To paddle down a river?
Let me call you back. You can do that, or you can join a commercial raft trip, go with a licensed guide. They may have some last-minute cancellations, but that's gonna cost you $2,000.
Okay, so what I like about this is that, I mean, he done the part of basically leaving everything behind, going on his adventure, and then he does try to go like the official routes, and like the guy says you have to sign up. It's like, okay, where do I sign up? Like here, but you have to wait 12 years. And then for him, it's again like, that's just insane. That's ridiculous. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do whatever I want myself anyway. And then he goes on the water, and then you have these people shouting at him because he's not wearing a helmet, which is also quite dangerous. But he makes it. He even goes to Mexico and then goes back again. But that's one of my favorite parts. Just like this, I'm going to take my freedom and enjoy it.
And this actually falls quite nicely into this transcendentalism philosophy piece, like part of the movie, because it shows how absurd and just like how different is the like big society and governmental structure. Like this Babylon of the hippies and Rastafari.
Yeah. It's a very romantic life, but also has a lot of sides often is not talked about. It's like, come back to the real world.
Yeah. No, it's a good one.
Yeah.
Do not have cookies.
No. All right. So that already was the hour again. We filled it up nicely. I hope you all at home enjoyed. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. I enjoyed talking with you about the movie again, and I hope to do it soon. About another movie, we'll see which one it is. We brought up The Revenant, which might be an option. And also another friend brought up Everest. Have you seen Everest?
I've heard about it, but I haven't seen it.
Okay, might be an interesting one then to do. It's about, I think, a guy who climbs up there to get the body of a died friend, if I remember correctly. Also based on a true story.
Oh, there is a huge problem with removing bodies from Everest.
Exactly. There's a whole different topic we can talk about. All the tourism as well. Because
no, but actually, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that after Into the Wild, it would be really nice to talk about The Wild, which is a very similar story.
Yeah, also a
but
good one.
Different in some way.
Different.
She returns.
True. That's different.
Yay.
Yeah. For me, Wild and Into the Wild are like the Hunger Games and Battle Royale. The one is on the action and the other is on the relationships and the emotions. But that's a good suggestion. We'll have a look at Wild as well. For you, all of you at home, thank you for watching. And I hope you tune in again next time. We don't know exactly when the next time will be, now with Christmas around the corner. But keep an eye on our Facebook page, on our website, and you'll see yourself when it pops up. And then for now, have a good weekend. Thank you, Greta. Thank you, Kirill. And hope to see you all next time.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.